In 1813, the Kingdom of Denmark faced a monumental financial crisis that led to its declaration of bankruptcy. The root cause of this collapse was the government's decision to print excessive amounts of money in a desperate attempt to stabilize its economy. In this video, we'll explore the historical context of Denmark's economic decline, examine the events that led to its downfall, and uncover the lessons this episode teaches about inflation, currency devaluation, and economic policy. To fully understand the 1813 bankruptcy, we first need to set the stage by looking at Denmark's political and economic situation in the early 19th century. Denmark, under the rule of King Frederik VI, was a small but relatively prosperous kingdom. However, it was caught in the crossfire of the Napoleonic Wars, a series of conflicts that ravaged much of Europe from 1803 to 1815. Denmark had tried to maintain neutrality, but in 1807, its decision to side with France in the wars led to the British Navy bombarding Copenhagen and seizing the Danish fleet. This naval disaster crippled Denmark's economy, as its ability to trade and protect its shipping routes was severely diminished. With trade routes blocked, and much of the country's wealth tied to shipping, the economy began to spiral into crisis. Denmark's economy before 1813 relied on the rigsdaler, a silver-based currency. However, during the Napoleonic Wars, Denmark struggled to maintain the value of the rigsdaler due to the constant pressure of military expenses and the economic blockade by the British. To finance these growing debts, the Danish government began printing more banknotes, a practice known as fiat currency expansion, where the money supply is increased without backing it with tangible assets like gold or silver. At first, this seemed like a temporary fix. But as more paper money flooded the market, inflation became rampant. By 1813, the Danish economy was in freefall, with the rigsdaler becoming almost worthless. The economy had little to no confidence in the currency, and the value of the rigsdaler had depreciated sharply. This led to what economists call hyperinflation, a situation where the prices of goods and services skyrocket uncontrollably due to the rapid devaluation of currency. The excessive printing of money did not have the intended effect of stabilizing the economy. Instead, it undermined confidence in Denmark's currency. The more money the government printed, the more worthless the rigsdaler became. This is a classic example of what economists call the inflationary spiral. By 1813, Denmark had little choice but to declare bankruptcy. On January 5, 1813, the state of Denmark officially went bankrupt. This meant that the government could no longer service its debts or provide stability to its financial system. The rigsdaler had collapsed, and the Danish economy was in a state of complete disarray. The consequences of Denmark's bankruptcy were severe. The Danish people faced extreme poverty, as their savings were wiped out by inflation. The government's inability to control the money supply meant that ordinary citizens could no longer rely on the value of their currency. Prices for essential goods skyrocketed, and the economy was plunged into a deep recession. In response to the crisis, the Danish government had to completely reform its financial system. It introduced a new currency, the rigsbankdaler, which was backed by silver and designed to restore confidence in the monetary system. The creation of the Rigsbanken, Denmark's first central bank, was part of this effort. The bank was tasked with ensuring that the new currency would be more stable and regulated, preventing the runaway inflation that had plagued the rigsdaler. The 1813 bankruptcy of Denmark provides several crucial lessons about economic policy and the dangers of excessive money printing. When governments print too much money without backing it with real value, inflation is inevitable. In Denmark's case, the rapid increase in the money supply led to a complete collapse of confidence in the currency, pushing the country into bankruptcy. This event also highlights the importance of maintaining a balanced and sustainable fiscal policy. Denmark's attempt to finance its war debts through currency devaluation proved disastrous. Countries that rely too heavily on printing money to solve economic problems often face severe consequences, as seen in modern examples of hyperinflation in places like Zimbabwe and Venezuela. Furthermore, Denmark's experience underscores the need for independent and stable central banks. The establishment of the Riksbanken was a crucial step in Denmark's recovery, as it introduced monetary controls and helped stabilize the currency. Central banks play a key role in managing inflation and ensuring that the money supply remains in check. Denmark's economic collapse in 1813 is a reminder that even small, seemingly stable economies are not immune to the devastating effects of poor monetary policy. Hyperinflation erodes the value of currency, destroys savings, and plunges countries into poverty. The Danish crisis of 1813 is often overlooked in economic history, but it serves as an important case study for modern economists and policymakers. It also shows how intertwined political and military decisions are with economic stability. Denmark's alignment with France and its subsequent conflict with Britain directly contributed to its economic collapse. The country's decision to engage in war led to huge military expenditures that it could not afford, and its response, printing more money, only made things worse. The 1813 Bankruptcy of Denmark is a classic example of the dangers of hyperinflation and poor economic management. By printing excessive amounts of money, the Danish government not only failed to stabilize its economy but also caused a total collapse of confidence in its currency. This event serves as a cautionary tale for governments and policymakers about the importance of maintaining sound fiscal and monetary policies. As we look back on Denmark's financial collapse, we can better understand the delicate balance that must be maintained to ensure long-term economic stability.